This is Deepak. So, how are you? Today's question is from Yasir, and he says, I pondered a couple of videos done by Rupert Spira suggested by you. There is a particular fact he mentioned in one of his dialogues with some fellows, in which he states that all there is knowing. In my interpretation, this means that what we call awareness is knowing, just different symbols for the same basic fundamental reality. I use his information as a way to meditate on everything in my surroundings, perceiving all of it just as knower. I found myself just as witnessing knower in everything, which made it easy for me to live in a total chaotic situation. At some point, however, skeptics may object that this fundamental fact may limit the expression of everyday activities, as we know we are the knower, so what's the point of doing anything? Does this make sense? Please enlighten me. Okay, so thank you, Yasser, for your question. And here is my response. Knowing is the common element in every experience. And what is knowing? Just as you said, silent witnessing awareness. By the way, Rupert Spira is an amazing teacher, so I congratulate you on following up on my suggestion. Okay, so knowing is the common element, or you might say the constant of constants in every experience. And just as you said, knowing is simple, silent witnessing awareness. So what happens in simple, silent witnessing awareness, which is prior to thought, prior to feeling, prior to perception, prior to what we may say speech and action. So knowing is just simple witnessing awareness. Start practicing that as you did. And what happens is, spontaneously, in that knowing, silent witnessing awareness, which is the highest intelligence, what happens is there's spontaneous intuition. What is intuition? Intuition is a deeper knowing of what it is. It's an intelligence that is contextual, relational, holistic, doesn't have a win-lose orientation, and eavesdrops on the mind of the cosmos. So that's the first thing that happens. Intuition opens up. The second thing that happens is pure creativity. Pure creativity, again, does not have a win-lose orientation. It is knowing what is and taking that and taking a leap of context, meaning, and relationship that also happens spontaneously. So that's the second thing that happens. Intuition first, creativity. The third thing that happens is the experience of synchronicity, because in that knowing is the correlation of all that is synchronicity. The fourth thing that happens is spontaneous right speech and spontaneous right action, which means you don't have to be burdened by memory nor by anticipation. You don't have to resist. You flow in a way that is spontaneously evolutionary, that brings joy to you and joy to everyone else. And then, of course, you begin to realize that in knowing is the organizing power of intention. In knowing also, you know that past, present, and future correlate if you only allow them to correlate without resistance. So knowing is the most powerful element if you can practice silent witnessing awareness. Now, of course, don't worry about the skeptics. There'll always be skeptics no matter what you say. But here is my take on how knowing leads to systems of thought. Knowing is prior to thought, but once thought arises, then thought organizes itself into a system. That's a human trait. We like to create stories around our knowing. And these systems of thought can be many: philosophy, mythology, religion, science. Science is a very good, precise, rational system of thought without actually asking what is thought and where does it come from. So thought is actually the first thing that happens as a result of the knowing element of experience. Okay, but pure knowing is prior to thought. Pure knowing is experience of sound, and then the constructs around the sound that become speech, music, poetry, communication, etc. Pure knowing is silent witnessing of form, shape, color, and then the construct around that: body, trees, stars, galaxies, fundamental elements, etc. In pure knowing, there's also the experience of taste, but then constructs around that, human constructs: strawberries and apples and oranges and pasta and Chinese food and Spanish food and so on. Same thing with smell. Okay, it's just fragrance, but then pleasant, not pleasant, stinky, alluring, sexy, sensual. So you see, once we have this pure element of knowing and the experiences that emanate from this knowing, which are sound, sight, taste, smell, and their correspondence. Okay, sound is the expression of hearing, form and color are the expression of seeing, fragrance is the expression of smelling, sound is the expression of hearing, and so on. And then all the constructs around that appear as mind, body, universe. So what's the point of doing anything? Knowing is the highest element connecting to the source. So there's an expression in the Bhagavad Gita, yogast kuru karmani, established in yoga, perform action. So when you come from that pure witnessing awareness, then thought, feeling, emotions, speech, actions are, in a sense, harnessing the infinite power of pure knowing. The infinite power of pure knowing, which is intuition, creativity, correlation, synchronicity, power of intention, comfort with unpredictability, which is the source of all creativity. So I think from pure knowing, the system of thought gets refined as feeling, speech, action in ways that are holistic, in ways that are nurturing, in ways that do not have a win-lose orientation, in ways that are creative. Science would be much more holistic if it focused not only on the quantification of experience, but also on asking who wants to know, who wants to measure, who wants to quantify. Because once you go back to the source, then the construct you create is much more holistic and less damaging. Okay, so I hope I've answered your question. Thank you for looking at the work of Rupert Spira, who is very inspiring. Spira is inspiring. And also, let's continue this discussion right here on discoveringyourcosmicself.com. And let's keep the conversation going. Marielle Bode and 10 others just shared your video. Marielle, thank you for sharing. And everyone who shares only expands their own awareness. And only through this communication with each other can we communicate our knowing to each other. And your responses, your reactions are very helpful to me. Dheeraj Verma says scientists, or rather physicalists, do not know the truth, but they are highly creative. How? Yes, you can be highly creative without understanding experience, but is your creativity helping the world? Is your creativity in somehow connected to love, compassion, joy, empathy, creating peace, creating more harmony, creating or moving us in the direction of a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthy, and happy planet. If scientists could take on that as something that science can help us do, then science could be our biggest and our best resource to a joyful, happier, healthier world. So please continue joining the conversation here, discoveringthecosmicself.com. The book is You Are the Universe, Discovering Your Cosmic Self. I'm very grateful for your support, and we shall continue this conversation. Claudia Dobbin says, our world needs harmony and peace. I'm with you, Claudia. Let's do it together. Shani Denise says, peace, peace, love, love. Thank you. Same to you, Shani. Kathy Ward says, thank you for your knowledge. Our knowledge, Kathy. Thank you for our knowledge. We have the same knowing element in our awareness. Kathleen McDowell says, thank you. Yes, thank you, Kathleen. Petit Kapish says, spontaneous joy to knowing. Yes, spontaneous joy. Joy is our essential state, and it's different from happiness. Happiness is always for a reason, but joy is our innate nature. Janice McGuigan says, hello Deepak, thank you for coming to Seattle. It was great. My husband and I attended. My favorite song is Imagine. My husband of thinking of jumping down on stage and playing that song. Anyway, thank you, Janice. Seattle was a wonderful experience. Hope to be back. Mindy says, You Are the Universe is a must read. Thank you for saying that, Mindy. I'm grateful for all your support, all your love, and all your companionship here and in the domains of consciousness. Okay, thank you, and have a wonderful day. I'm leaving Jerusalem tonight, and will connect from New York. Love and God bless.